Okay, we're going to try and do this live. There ain't no guarantee this is going to work. Whoops, I need to start restream. I can see my chat. There we go. I think I got everything started I need to be. I think I'm streaming. I won't swear to nothing. This may not work. I've never tried this before. I've never actually used desktop capture with OBS, so I probably will be tabbing in and out of things to check on things to see how it works. But we're going to go through and let everybody know that how this works. People keep claiming it's fake, think I'm some kind of great publisher, but I'm not. I'm a hack. And I have no idea how well this is going to work. But we're going to get started here. First thing you want to do to run Star Citizen, to set it up, is you'll want to make a custom resolution for your monitor just to get your best quality in your Oculus Rift. To do that, I don't know if people are aware of it, but I have NVIDIA. So you just open your control panel. You go to custom change resolutions. We want to make a custom. And we want to make a custom resolution. And we want to make one at 2160 by 1200. The hertz is whatever your monitor support. Mine's only a 1080p at 60 hertz. You want to make your new resolution. You want to hit test. You want to test it to make sure your monitor and your video card. Thank you. You want to make sure that your monitor will support the DSR downscaling. Let it downscale. Once you get the resolution up, just hit OK. And I set my desktop at that resolution because it just makes things easier for me. It's downscaled a little bit. It'll run just fine on a 1080p monitor. You don't have to worry about it. Once you get your resolution, then you'll want to go into your, you'll want to go ahead and start up Star Citizen all by itself. You'll want to launch the game. We don't have to load the game completely. We just need to get in the option screens. Hopefully this is all showing up. As I have desktop capture on, I make no guarantees. I've never done this way before, so it's a little different. This will load really quick, thank goodness. Then we'll want to go into options. You'll want to go to graphics, and you'll want to set your resolution in game to 2160 by 1200. Okay, now we have Star Citizen set up to be able to do it and get your best quality viewing resolution in your HMD. Once we're done, just back out and we'll close Star Citizen. Hopefully that all came out completely. Now we'll just go ahead and close the launcher. Next thing you'll need to do is you'll have to have VorpX. VorpX is easy to get. It is a buy program, but you can get it just by going to VorpX.com. Just do a Google search, bring up the website, and there you go. You can buy it. I think it's $40 now. It was a little cheaper when I bought it, but I've had it a long time. You'll automatically get all the new updates, and you will get the latest version. But you'll want to install it. You have to go through the installs, all that stuff. It doesn't take very long, just a couple minutes, but just you can get it at VorpX.com. Once you've installed VorpX, the next thing you'll want to do is we'll want to configure it, start it up. So just double click VorpX. You'll have it on your, you only need to use Start VorpX here. Just start it up. It'll load. It'll show up in your screen. Here we go. And then we'll want to right click it. You'll want to hit Configure VorpX. Now the first time you load this, it will come up with the original screen I have it set, do not show the start page. There's nothing you can do on the start page. Just shows you how to do certain things. Here's how we'll set it up. Now, if you're one of those people that run Star Citizen in admin, you'll have to run VorpX in admin. I do not run it in admin. It's not necessary. So I have that unclicked. You'll want to use built-in audio device. That means your Rift headset. You'll want to enable head tracking role. Try to block known game overlays. These are things like RRST and all that stuff. You don't want to, they will interfere with VorpX. So you'll want to turn them off. You want to enable expert settings. I have mine set. I never change any in-game settings automatically through VorpX. I have found that I can tweak it better than it can. And it will change things to make it easier on itself. I just leave it off and I make all my in-game settings myself. Once again, start page on launch, check it, don't check it, doesn't make any difference, just have an extra page. It'll show you hints for VorpX if you've never used it before, if you in game. And you can hide the less important notifications, not a big deal. Once we've done all this, we want to hit apply and close. Okay, VorpX is now running. Make sure your Oculus Rift is running, or this should work just fine on a Vive 2 from HTC. Make sure it's running. Have it started. And now we're just going to go in here, or we're trying to go in here, and we're going to start VorpX in our HMD. So first thing we're going to do, once again, we're going to start the launcher. It's going to load, let it check for updates. Probably won't be any for a couple more weeks. Then we're going to hit launch the game, and you will see here that it will come up that VorpX will attach to this program right here, attaching to Star Citizen, which is exactly what it's supposed to do. Now that we're attached, we're loading in. You can now, or should be, go ahead and you can put your HMD on. You will find that if you don't, I'm moving my mouse around. You'll notice that I can't see my cursor because we're using a double monitor. We now actually have two monitors loaded. One of them is our regular monitor, the other one is our HMD, and our mouse is now in our HMD. So some people say, well, once I started, I can't use my mouse and controls. Well, no, you can't, because that's not your main screen now. Now your main screen is in your HMD. Put your HMD on, and you now see Star Citizen. You want to hit the Alt space bar key, which centers your head tracking, centers it directly in front of your eyes. We are now in our HMD. Now, I am going to bring up Oculus Mirror mode, hopefully, and this is going to mirror my screen, that what I am seeing in my HMD. Hopefully it screen captures properly. We're going to find out here. We're going to tab out, just tab out of Star Citizen. We're going to start our Oculus. Now you can see that this is actually my view in my Oculus. Let me double check OBS, make sure that's showing up for you people. Yes, it is, as I can see. So now we're going to go back into our Oculus. I got a cat trying to help. Come on, cat, go away. Come on, buddy, you got to get down. Yeah, I know, life's a bitch. Okay, now we're in. Now you should be able to see the VorpX menu when I bring it up, hopefully. If you can't see it and anybody's watching, just let me know. In the mirror, you should be able to see my VorpX control panel. You will only be able to see it in your HMD. You cannot see it on your monitor unless you're using the mirrors. First thing you do is, let me double check here real quick and make sure that this is showing up properly, I hope. Okay, I'm showing this now, so hopefully this is working when I have the when the game's opened. God, I hope. I could probably yeah, there's no way for me to know and without recording it, unfortunately. Hopefully you can see it. Am I getting dual screens up there for everybody that they can see the mirrors? Now you'll see you do have a mouse here, hopefully. I use it on immersive screen mode. Your screen distance offset is how far or how near you're covering up your Rift. It's adjustable. I have it to max. 3D reconstruction. The best reconstruction is Geometry 3D. However, the new patch in Star Citizen broke it again. So they put something new in the program that interferes with 3D geometry. So you have to use Z normal. What's this mean is you have a little less 3D depth. It's not quite as visual. You still have 3D, it's just not as strong. When you're in Z normal, run your 3D strength all the way up to 3. Your weighing distance is how your 3D, if you want it far away from you, you want things far away, or you want things near more 3D. I have it balanced near and far, 50 is the center. Focal distance is how much overlap your eyepieces and your HMD have. You probably never want it over 3. If you had it to 0, it will reduce your 3D quite a bit. Head tracking multiplier. Run it. It's a combination of things you have to do. I run VorpX all the way to max on the multiplier to get the most head tracking that I like. Image settings, normal, gamma brightness, saturation is color saturation. Sometimes you need to turn it up, turn it down. It's not bright enough. It's all just controlled in your HMD. It has nothing to do with your screen. HUD scales, where it's located, how big it is. You can set how you want to view them. They change. You want, unless you can run 90 frames per second, you want all this. You want direct mode, fluid sync, and async render. You want it on auto or on. So if you don't get 90 frames per second, leave them alone. GPU sync, run safest. I have found it makes no difference. I don't worry about it. Edge peak is actually, you can middle click your mouse, and as you can see for edges, you can now look at the end of the screen. You can probably see it moving in the mirror. That it backs it away so you can see the full screen, because it's not made for VR. So you have to have it cheap, and of course the scale is how far away from it moves. Okay, you want head tracking on. Sensitivity is how much movement you get. I've got it set to 50. It'll go to 5. You can really turn it on. Roll is so when you roll your head, the screen rolls with you. You don't need to invert settings or anything. You can hit crouch and jump on. That's like when you're walking around the ground and you want it bouncing like this. Well, you know, that drives me nuts, so I turn it off. Oculus touch settings. Now, you can turn these on. I don't use the Oculus touch in Star Citizen, but if you do, you can actually see your wands or your controllers in your hands in VorpX and Star Citizen if you turn them on. I do not. Input settings, mouse acceleration, leave it alone. You don't need to pitch lock. Menu key overrides, yes. Edge key override, yes. Alt key override, yes. Gamepad buttons, VorpX. That means if you're using a 360 controller, you could actually control this menu with your Xbox 360. I find it gets in my way, so I have them off. Here's a very important thing, override Xbox gamepad. If you have a gamepad, You want to full override, because what happens is your head tracking is mouse base, your gamepad, the right stick that controls your views, they will conflict and it will just take off and go crazy. So you want to override it fully, which means that once you do, you'll have to go into change gamepad settings to however you want them set. And you can adjust every button, every mouse, every stick to the controls that you want them to be. You probably won't like the defaults. I didn't. So set your gamepad up, if you're using one, to how you like it. Go back to settings. You'll have to set your dead zones and stuff, your sensitivity on the compad, however you like it. It can be awful sensitive. And that's pretty much. Here's our VR hotkey menus. That means if you want to use certain buttons to get into VR, use your VorpX commands, you can set them. I don't hardly ever do it. I just use the middle mouse button to bring up the menu here, and it works for me. Now we're back to main settings. We've got everything set. Just hit OK and save, and now VorpX is good to go. So we'll just step into the PU here for a second to show you that now we're just able to walk right into it. We're going to have to load here. It'll take a little bit, 30 seconds, minute, something like that. I do not have an M2 NVMe drive. I just have a standard ScanDisk SSD Plus. I haven't broke down and got an M2 yet because I haven't decided what I want it or how big I want it. And this is the only game I have that takes forever to load, which I consider forever. If you're on a hard drive, you probably think this is fast, but it's not. But now, hopefully, after I stop streaming this, I'll look at it and hopefully it's not butchered too bad. Because say I'm not a professional and I decided to go ahead and live stream this instead of making a video, because people keep claiming how fake it is, you know. But it's not fake. Anybody can do it. You don't need the super killer rig, but you do need decent frame rates in Star Citizen to make it enjoyable. I would say if you can't get 30 all the time, you probably shouldn't even mess with it. I get 40, 45, which works great with ASW built into VorpX. It translates perfectly for me. We are now in the game. I have my little controller here, and now we're just going to, as you can see, we are just loaded in. I am now in 3D, in VR. If your head tracking's not quite in center, just go ahead and hit your Alt Space key and it'll center it. See how it changed it? Now we'll just walk up, use our box, and we are in Star Citizen, lag spikes and all. And we're at in-game resolution is 2160 by 1200, which translates the best. It actually translates directly to the Rift's best resolution. And that's really all there is to it. It's not that hard. The biggest key is your rig does need to get at least 30 frames per second. If you're not getting 30, it's going to be a miserable time, headache inducing, and the whole works. But as long as you get that or better, it's very enjoyable to play Star Citizen in VR. The immersion factor changes the game completely. You do give up some of your 4K or your 1440p resolution, but I think the immersion is well worth the trade-off. Some people don't. Now, you will also find that to get everything right the way you want it, your head tracking, as you can see, you need to go into your option menu, and you're going to have to change some controls. That's all there is to it. You'll have to adjust your mouse settings. I can show you what mine are, but they probably are not going to work for you. As you can see, in flight movement, I have the curves all the way to the right. On foot, I have them about 1.5. I think most everything standard is 1. So you'll just have to play to get where you want it to go, to what you find acceptable to head tracking. You'll have to do the same thing on your if you're using joysticks. Gamepad, I haven't had to change them any because I overrode it. You override it in VorpX, so these settings aren't even going to work. It's going to ignore them. And you're going to have to change your HOTAS packages, depending on what joysticks you have up and running. As you can see, I have my curves on my number 1 stick, which is my first. I have them all the way to the right. You'll have, like I say, it's a matter of personal preference. You're going to have to adjust them to get them where you want them to get comfortable. But you'll have to do that if you got a left joystick. You have to do the same thing on your left joystick to get the settings you want, to get the feel that you want. If you don't do them, you know, it's no different than playing without your HMD as far as that goes. You have to do them to get comfortable with your joysticks. You'll find that it's completely different dogfighting in VR than it is on your community monitor. First of all, you feel movement when you're in VR because of the screen. It's just something you learn that it makes it much more exciting, more immersive, especially when you're flying low altitude, or even in Arena Commander. When you're flying around in Arena Commander with all those 3D asteroids, you feel like you are moving, unlike it's very static when you don't. You really don't have a sense of speed, movement, or any of that stuff. You get that completely in VR. Now, I guess that's all we can say about this for now. Hopefully this streamed properly and everybody could see everything I was talking about. I will not know until I look at the video, and then I'll probably just cuss. So thanks everybody for watching. I hope this helps the people out who have been having trouble trying to get this running. So hopefully this all works out.